This mayor really showed up to a board meeting like Nino Brown demanding money from the citizens.
Employees and equipment. Fox 32's Dane Placco investigates where all that money is going.
Nobody knows something. Don't nobody know nothing.
Tiffany Henyard certainly isn't shy about attracting attention. Here she is starting a Dalton Village board meeting dressed like the Wesley Snipes character in the movie New Jack City. Later punctuating her political points with the help of her own DJ.
Every single resident. Pay me what you owe me. Thank you, DJ.
Henyard's picture and name adorn virtually every public posting, both from Dalton, where as mayor she makes $46,000 a year, and in Thornton Township, where as the elected supervisor she collects more than $200,000 a year. But for all that money, Henyard's tenure at both has been chaotic, with firings, scandals, and a legal battle with the Dalton trustees over spending. So last fall, Henyard did something that would seemingly generate some good publicity, helping establish the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation to help breast cancer patients. And on the very day the charity was chartered, it received a huge donation, $10,000, from the Thornton Township Board, which Henyard presides over.
Taxpayer money shouldn't be paid into those types of things.
Stephanie Wiedemann is the former Thornton Township Chief of Staff, whom Henyard fired shortly after taking over in March of last year.
It almost felt like a takeover, and a very aggressive one at that.
Since her firing, Wiedemann has been documenting township spending and says she's stunned by the taxpayer dollars funneled into Henyard's charity, especially this.
We got 10 days. We're going 196 miles.
Last October, Henyard led a delegation of Dalton and Thornton Township employees and political supporters on a march to Springfield to promote her breast cancer charity, which she documented on her Facebook page.
We're walking through Dalton. Hi, we're in Brightwood now. We are in Godly now. We in Bloomington, baby.
I can pretty much map out their entire Springfield trip on the township credit cards.
That's right. Henyard billed thousands of dollars in hotel rooms and meals during the trip to Thornton Township and Dalton credit cards. In addition, the videos show Henyard used multiple village and township vehicles owned by taxpayers to escort the caravan, including a flatbed trailer with a photographer, flying a drone, and a DJ.
We got our mayor right here coming from Dalton, Illinois, walking all the way to Springfield. Y'all make some noise for our mayor, the people's mayor.
But they didn't always walk.
We on motorbikes, baby.
At times, riding electric bikes.
Y'all see my bike?
Our township supervisor.
It looks like a misspending of tax funds. I think that's the biggest concern.
Dalton trustee Jason House has been doing battle with the mayor since she took office.
Very disturbing to hear these things or to kind of see some of the receipts that appear to be connected to it. And I think the taxpayers really deserve better than that.
And then there's the merch.
This shirt. One of the t-shirts.
Along the way, Henyard sold and gave away t-shirts and hoodies, also available on her charity's website. A week before the trip, the township paid $17,000 for specially printed hoodies and t-shirts, but won't say what they're for.
I think that everything she has initiated has been something to promote her, something to get her name in household, something to get people to buy into voting for her.
Our investigation found at least $11,000 in public funds spent on that trip. But both Dalton and Thornton Township have been slow or unresponsive to open records requests. So what was the purpose of the 10-day march to Springfield?
I have created a bill, which we're going to speak before the Revenue Committee, to give everybody $5,000 on their income tax when they file, if you are suffering from cancer.
A noble goal, except the Revenue Committee wasn't meeting when the group arrived in Springfield. Henyard did later testify at a committee hearing in Chicago, but so far nothing has come of her bill.
I think I'm doing a damn good job on leave.
So we went to a recent Thornton Township Board meeting to ask Henyard some questions about all that spending.
I've never, ever been bitter to the news. This is my olive branch to the media. Can you guys reach out to us and ask us our opinion before you post it? I would appreciate it.
And so we did.
I want to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
But Henyard wasn't anxious to talk about her charity.
Why did you and the board vote to give your foundation $10,000?
I'm the face of the foundation. My name is nowhere, sir.
Say again?
I'm the face.
You're the face. What was the purpose of going to Springfield?
Thank you, guys. Hey, she doesn't have any more comments, guys.
We're going to talk.
She doesn't have any more comments. Thanks, guys.
That's Keith Freeman, whom Henyard hired at both Dalton and Thornton Township and was part of her Springfield walk.
Look at Keith, baby.
Freeman also filed paperwork for the charity bearing Henyard's name.
Why are you using public money for your personal charity?
$17,000 for insurance.
And with that, her security detail hustled Henyard upstairs and blocked the staircase with a table. So we tried asking another employee who went on that trip.
You went down to Springfield, and what were you hoping to do in
You need to ask the
Springfield?
people that handles that. I'm not the one that handled it. I was just riding the bike.
We need more officers on the streets. We need our streets repaved. So to spend that kind of money on a charitable event or
Well, what a way to start out the podcast.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. It's samecastdiff I figured that'll be a good way to start off the podcast, considering some of the other stuff that's going to be in the show. Whew.
Why y'all just can't do right?
The fact that she came to a town hall meeting dressed as Wesley Snipes, the spending of the hotel for the spending that she used, like the county credit card for hotels and motorbikes and T-shirts and stuff like that. The fact that she donated $10,000 to a charity thing that's supposed to be named her charity thing that she created. Talking about she just the face, like you created it, and you took public funds and donated $10,000 towards it. Like.
Yikes.
That it just blew my mind. Like, are you freaking serious?
Yeah, she was real serious. Yes. That is amazing. I don't know what to say about that other than y'all get into public office and okay. Great idea. Okay, she got people to come out. She gave out merchandise. It's a great cause, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like the idea of giving people money back on their taxes or giving a tax cut because they are afflicted with cancer, right? Because child, them medical bills pile up. Okay. So
yes, they do.
I'm not, totally against that idea. But she just didn't do it in the right way. So that's,
and the
fact that's what kind of caught her up.
People walk and ride bikes and be paid for hotels and all this stuff to go for this walk to Springfield to go to testify and talk about your bill. And the committee wasn't even meeting.
Yeah, Sony bought one.
So it was just like, what the fuck, woman?
Right.
Like you didn't do your research to find out when the committee was meeting. I have no words. They wonder why they don't like. They wonder why they don't let certain people in office.
They ain't never gonna let no more black people into the office because of that.
Mm-hmm. So moving along, there was this meme or video that Tina had kept sending me, acting like it was me or one of my cats or something like that. So I'm gonna play this video for y'all real quick. And for all your listeners, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do my best to try to work on putting these videos out on the Facebook page, the podcast Facebook page, when it shows up at least a couple of hours afterwards. But yeah, I'm gonna play the video. Here we go.
He's been busted driving on a suspended license more than 70 times. Investigator Simon Shaquette has been tracking this case, and he's live in our newsroom now with the latest. Simon.
Glenda Rafael Acosta showed little remorse today for breaking the law behind the wheel more than 70 times.
Louis? He said he only has his permit.
Listen, that cat is famous, okay? It's been so many memes That cat driving, taking off for work, talking about something. They got doctor's appointments and going to get their hair and nails done. Talking about they're gonna work overtime and then be the first person to leave when they ask who wants to leave.
I mean, so many videos with that cat and with the memes and stuff. Like some of them do describe me, but still. Oh my goodness! He finally got caught. He'd been caught driving 70 times without a driver's license. Just let y'all know. So, this next story, I don't remember if we talked about this on the last show, but it was pretty hilarious. And maybe we had talked about it, and I couldn't find the clip for y'all to have like a good understanding of it. So I'm going to play the clip that way y'all can hear. Well, at least for your audio listeners, you better hear the understanding. But it was watch us live, or go back and watch the videos. You get a good understanding. Because apparently, we had a couple of views on the people watching the government shutdown video show last week. So thank y'all for watching that episode on YouTube. So I'm gonna play that clip.
Y'all. I am fucking deceased. Call a priest, call a pastor, give me my last right. Fucking dead. This is what happens when you go through lawyers like water. They miss a few things. Your Honor, I'd like to present Exhibit A, Note of Issue. Can you please tell me what is missing from this document? Give yourself a second. Ooh! Your lawyers forgot to check trial by jury. They literally just had to go check, and they didn't do it. So now the judge gets to decide the case. If, oh fucking shit, at a fucking face, this would be You want to disbar the judge, but your own fucking lawyers are already working against you, or they're too fucking dumb. I mean, look at Alina's fucking face like, oh shit, you gonna learn today.
Child.
They had one job. So now, like you said, it's up to the judge whether Trump is innocent or guilty now. And he got to go to the jury of his peers where he can try to bribe them, but he can still bribe the judge. But I think with a court case at this level, you better not try bribing a judge to say you innocent. So I can't wait for the end of this trial. I cannot fucking wait.
That's hilarious.
He's got what's coming to him. I swear he do.
He did. You know what? Somebody probably paid the lawyers probably was bribed to forget to check that box.
Right. I think at this point, no matter what, I think these people like these lawyers like, yeah, no matter how much money you throw at us, I just don't want to deal with this. No.
Or maybe it was one of the associates who were given the task of completing the paperwork and they fucked up.
You know when you watch Suits too much.
Right. That was a fantastic show. Fantastic. Learn a few things.
There was a few weeks ago, and I talked about Americans and their savings accounts and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I finally found the video that I was looking for, where they were talking about America possibly being a third world country due to our financial crisis. Mm-hmm. And he gives like this very detailed breakdown of if we continue to go in the path that we're going in, like what would be the results of that. Okay. So I'm going to play that video for y'all. And by the way, he is fine as hell. I wish I knew he was at the video because he's fine as hell. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh, it finally happened because Americans are on the brink of bankruptcy. And this money story just keeps going from bad to worse. Because first is inflation, which is up in the month of August at 3.67%. And you might think to yourself, well, that's no big deal. It's just 3.67%. But this is your money. And it means for every $1,000 that you make, you're really only able to buy $963 worth of goods because that remaining $300 and change is just inflated away. And to make matters worse, the inflation in our economy isn't confined to just avocado toast or the occasional cup of coffee. It's actually taken root in the most important things that we buy every day, like gasoline and the cost of keeping a roof over your head. Gasoline prices in this country are getting out of control, and rent prices have increased every month for the last 40 months. That's over 3 years of month over month the basic cost of having a place to live has increased. But wait, it gets worse. Because the Federal Reserve, who is in charge of making sure that the economy doesn't go spiraling down the toilet drain, which, newsflash, they're not very good at their job. They're in charge of combating inflation, and they're trying to, and right now their only option to make that happen is by raising interest rates. Which means if you still don't have a house but you're close, if you buy one now, the cost of your mortgage is going to be higher than it's ever been compared to what the cost of your home is, at least if we look at the last 10 years. But thanks to inflation, in many states, the cost of the home itself is close to or at all-time highs. But wait, it gets even worse, because the Federal Reserve recently released studies showing that household savings in the United States has been going down every month for the last 2 years. Because back in 2021, Americans had roughly $2.1 trillion in savings collectively. And as of July of 2023, that number has dropped to $198 billion. And Americans collectively have been drawing down on their savings at a rate of around $100 billion a month, meaning by the end of September 2023, that's this month, US households will run out of savings collectively. But wait, it gets worse. Because in October, student loans, which have been on pause since the pandemic, are scheduled to kick back in again. So your money now buys you less stuff, while the Federal Reserve raises interest rates against you if you're trying to buy a home, while the cost of rents keep going up every month, while at the same time student loans are coming into play, so you're going to have less money in your pocket, and your money doesn't go as far to begin with because of all the inflation. And that's it. I'm done. That is the bleak state of the United States.
There's so much more to that story.
There's more?
So much.
I can't give them more bad news. They're not going to want to follow my channel if I just have nothing but depressing shit to
you
share.
got to tell them everything. Tell them about corporate profits.
There's more. Because it would be one thing if Americans as a whole were entering into financial dark times altogether as one United States, but that's not what's actually happening. Because in 2022 and 2023, corporate profits have been at or near all-time highs. A small portion of our society is doing better than they've ever done before. And I personally am all for getting rich. I want to have more money. I want you to have more money. I think we should live in a country where we all have the opportunity to be doing better tomorrow than we did yesterday, collectively. Some of us aren't going to make it, but if we live in a place where all of us have the chance to, that's exciting. But that's not what's happening. A small group of people are getting richer not by providing more value to society, but by extracting value from it. For example, Blackstone, a private equity firm on Wall Street, led by this man, Stephen Schwarzman, who's the CEO of Blackstone. This guy took home over $250 million in profits in 2022. Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, got a 36% pay increase in 2022 and took home $33 million. And we all know why Pfizer did so well in 2021 and 2022. And if that's not disaster capitalism, I don't know what is. Because what's happening in the United States definitely feels like it's unsustainable. And it also sadly feels like the government is on the side of corporations rather than the people. Because remember the Pfizer CEO that took home $33 million last year? In that same year, 2022, Pfizer signed a $3.2 billion deal with the US government, meaning our tax dollars are funding Pfizer and helping their company hit record profits, allowing them to give their CEOs massive pay boosts with money that comes from US taxpayers. And it's really frustrating because I wasn't a great student in school, but I seem to remember the role of government being something like regulating big businesses to protect the people from big businesses, overstepping their bounds and doing things that are just not good for society. Right now, in 2023, it seems like government is aligned with those same corporations at the expense of the American people. So the question is, what are we all going to do if things keep going this way? Is the answer stop buying the avocado toast, which is keeping us all in poverty? Or maybe we all just start collecting rainwater so we can grow our gardens off-grid to sustain ourselves?
Actually, that's illegal in 11 states.
It's illegal to collect rainwater in 11 states?
You can't do it.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding. And actually, you live in one of those 11 states.
Well, shit.
So that was a lot of information to digest.
I mean, he did a really good job of simplifying.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
he did.
But like I said, so
Um,
if that continues to happen, just imagine the impact. So imagine the fact, in certain states where, say, like you live in Idaho somewhere, and their pay is probably not as good as somewhere where it's like major city. I don't think Idaho or Iowa really have big major cities like how Wisconsin and Illinois and Washington, all these other places do. I driven through Iowa. I don't remember seeing anything. But so it's like imagine being in a place where the cost of living is being so cheap where I can make $10 or $12 an hour and be able to live comfortable and have a decent place to live. So imagine people like that, and now all of a sudden now 2024 roll around and it costs you $2,000 for a studio apartment.
yeah, I'm going back
Like,
to the whole conspiracy theory thing, right? Because the pandemic happened while Trump was in office.
mm-hmm,
And what is Trump number one known for? Being a businessman, right?
mm-hmm.
So I do feel like this was somebody leaked the virus because where the fuck did a pandemic come from in our day and age like that? Something of upper respiratory virus, that caused a lot of panic, shutdowns, things like that. Well, to me, it's crazy. Like, I don't think that had happened on that magnitude since the flu. If I'm not mistaken, the influenza outbreak was in the early 1900s, which
It was
makes sense.
it was the Spanish flu, and it was exactly, what was it? Is it exactly 100? No, it was in the 1920s. So as nearly 100 years later so it was the Spanish flu and COVID. I think that's literally 100 years apart from each other.
And I understand that outbreak back then, but since then, the medicine has made so many leaps and bounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like something like this could have been prevented, should have been prevented, they should have forecast or seen it coming. It should have been handled better than what it was, right? Um, and I mean, there you go.
I mean, I
So it
think it
was an
was.
ultimate.
Remember, during Obama's time in office, he had that team, this like virus team put together, and they warned our government that something like this was coming or might be on the horizon. And then when Trump got into office, he abolished that whole board of people who warned that this stuff was coming.
Well, during Obama's administration, there was, remember,
It was
swine
Ebola.
flu.
Yeah, Ebola spot. Yeah, and they warned, but the government warned, though that group warned, put out a warning like, hey, there's this virus that might end up happening, might or might not. We should prepare for it. And what happened? Trump was like, oh no, that's not real. And he didn't prepare for it, and then look what happened.
Well, so I feel like those outbreaks didn't result in a pandemic, right? Maybe an
Right.
epidemic
Yeah.
where it was localized, probably more to like third world countries who didn't have access to medications, so on and so forth, clean water, washing hands, clean, things like that to prevent the spread. But for a virus like the coronavirus to shut down America, like that right there, it seemed to me that it was plot and planned and released, so then it made Trump look good because number one, I mean, Americans don't like to work anyway, right? So everybody was at home, people was getting stimulus checks, so on and so forth. And then the rebound caused what is going on. Pfizer got the whole sign with the
3.2
government
billion.
only because the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare mandated that all facilities that receive compensation under them, you get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's that. And that's how they inked that deal. So they got a kickback just because of that. And the majority of our health centers hinge upon public funds to pay their bills, you know? So I don't know. I just feel like what he said, the big companies like Pfizer, and I feel like Moderna didn't do as good as Pfizer, right?
No. I mean, they were
Right.
like second when it came to COVID, the COVID shots, because people was either
Yeah.
getting Pfizer or the Moderna shots. And I think it was Johnson and Johnson who really who didn't really profit well off of the whole COVID situation.
So I mean, but they made it, so and then there was Johnson and Johnson, right? That had the one and done dose, right?
Hmm.
Makes sense to me, but it didn't do well either. So it's just kind of crazy.
And they had a
Pfizer
lot of
got,
recalls when the Johnson and Johnson was actually, I think their vaccine killed somebody.
well, so people with different types of comorbidities, but in my head during the pandemic, you really don't have a lot of time to test out these things, right? That's
Right.
why you got to get a emergency grant approval from the FDA to push these out, and Pfizer was the first one to get it.
Hmm.
So it, that was a lot of, kind of thing. And now they're still releasing more and more and more. Like they came out with a new booster where they turned it from being a monovalent um, immunization to a bivalent that was supposed to be able to cover a broader scope of mutations. And
Hmm.
then now they released yet another one. So it's like we got people calling my job, like, do y'all got the new COVID vaccine? And I'm like, no, we don't. So in my head, I'm looking at the research. Yeah, numbers are climbing. We expected it to climb, kind of like it's going to happen around the time the flu season happened. In my head, I already had figured that. I had already figured there was going to be a seasonal immunization for COVID. Makes sense, right?
Hmm.
And they planned it that way. So you got to think about it. If COVID becomes seasonal like the flu, Pfizer is going to continue to make money, right?
Hmm.
All the time, just off of the coronavirus. Um, so this is so crazy to me. Like all these pieces are kind of falling together. So that right there, like they just, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think a lot of our medication that we got at our clinic is made by Pfizer. That is one of the main ones. There are other. I feel like the main company that produces our routine medications is GlaxoSmithKline. So, like our immunizations and stuff. Pfizer, the coronavirus is one of the bigger things, and I want to say Pfizer wasn't really doing too well prior to this. I don't think.
And they ain't doing well in the stock market because I own shares in Pfizer and they're not doing good.
Same. So, and I don't understand that. How is they getting 36% pay increases, but your stock is in the toilet? Like, what are we doing? It doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I feel like I'm not really sure when all of this is going to stop. I did like they finally put a cap on insulins.
Oh, they needed that. Yes.
Yeah, so they finally put a cap on insulins, which is great because, right, diabetes is going to wreck every part of your body and cause things, strokes, heart attacks, kidney failure, so on and so forth. People are going to be on dialysis forever. So I feel like that is a great thing to have done because insulin was like astronomical, like $300 for a box of insulin. Now I know at my job you can get a box of insulin for $15 without insurance. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea. All right.
Yeah, so I love it.
Speaking of our crazy government, So for the first time ever in the history of America, the House Speaker was removed from his position. The Republicans got together and called for a vote to have his removal. They are upset that he struck a deal with the Democrats, which basically gave funding for the war in Ukraine. And the Republicans were upset about that. So they are in the position now where they're trying to find a new Speaker of the House. I'm trying to think. I don't think he said he regret his decision with making and striking a deal with the Democrats to keep the government open. And the thing is, with everything that's going on in our country, why was that the major hiccup in keeping our government open? Like, y'all was really willing to shut down the government over a war in another country.
Yeah. Well, we got all the shit with inflation going on here. So you gonna cut government funds? You are already starting to cut government funds coming off of the pandemic, and you just gonna stop them all together, huh?
Right. So I mean, at least the government remains open, but the thing is, they still have to put together a spending bill by the end of November. So then they only gave themselves a month. So now it's gonna be this negotiation of, oh well, we still need more funding for Ukraine. I'm like,
no, you don't.
I'm at this point like, I'm sorry this is happening to y'all country and this is what's going on over there. We have a lot of problems of our own going on here in the United States that needs to be solved and fixed. And all we keep hearing about is how we don't have money, we don't have funding. They're cutting this, they're cutting that, they're cutting this, they're cutting that. We're cutting so much, but yet we have, over $1 billion to send to another country to fight a war. So at some point, it's like the government, they need to focus on their people, on what's going on here. And for instance, like they could be helping with healthcare costs. Like the employer that I work for just literally bought a health insurance company, like 100%. They own it 100%. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So now it makes me wonder, like, well, they can force all those of us, since we work for them, we carry their health insurance, they can force us to only use their doctors, their facilities, and then on top of that, they can increase costs in healthcare and premiums to try to make a profit off the employees who carry their health insurance. So it's like it's more stuff that they need to be worrying about than what's going over there in Ukraine. Like they need to do more. They need to regulate health insurance companies more better, because I feel like health insurance is pure robbery. Just like this has nothing to do with healthcare, but even when it comes to car insurance, I feel like that's another thing that needs to be regulated way more better than what it is, because the cost of car insurance and stuff right now, it is ridiculous. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I just did my open enrollment and I got the same exact stuff that I do every year. Nothing changed, and mine's went up almost $100 per paycheck. So
Yeah,
I used to pay
my
$5
open enrollment
something.
is
Now I'm
money.
paying close to $7 something a month, right? That's a lot of money for my children to be healthy.
And then for us, it's like every year, like they give us a raise until you reach basically till you cap out. But every year you get a raise, but every time you get a raise, they increase the cost of health insurance, so you're not really seeing a raise. Because the money that you would have gotten, the extra money you would have had with your new pay increase, you're now going to have to pay that for health insurance. So it's like you're not seeing any of the extra money that you should be getting.
That's one thing I like about my job. We don't have a cap. There's no caps on any of our jobs, on any of the positions there, that I know of. So while you were talking, I was kind of curious as to why the Republicans are so, make it make sense on a political level why you want to back the war in Ukraine so much, right? So I'm like,
it's not even the Republicans. The Republicans don't want to. It's the Democrats backing the war in Ukraine.
Okay. So why, right? And I'm like, well, maybe they're a part of NATO. Nope.
They were
Nope.
trying to fast track to become part of NATO, but they're not.
Yeah.
It's all about
Yeah.
oil.
And it looks like they have to wait until after the war to become part of NATO, from what I was reading. So, I mean, I get it. It's about oil, but this is just getting ridiculous. So it's and then like how these companies are now pushing towards more and more electrical cars,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So then oil, is it really gonna matter like that anymore? Because that's what we use the
Okay.
majority of our.
So here's the thing about the thing with the electrical cars. If every American right now who owns a car was to switch to an electrical car, our current power grid will not be able to withhold all the power needed to power and charge these electrical cars. So I think until we have the technology for that, or at least the technology where you could drive an electrical car like you do a gas car for hours and hours and hours and hours without that battery dying down, I don't think that pushing electric cars right now is a good thing to do.
I feel like a hybrid car is a good idea. And, they have to come up with better ways to make electricity. Like, you can make electricity. You seen like middle schoolers make electricity from what, like a potato? Like, you get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you got solar energy, you have wind energy. So all of these clean options that they need to put more into, because fact of the matter is the world's going to keep turning around the sun and fossil fuels are going to run out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they need to, and I know there are, research and so on and so forth that's going on with this. They need to really kind of stay in that direction, because we're going to deplete our source of fossil fuel anyway. I was just thinking about getting solar panels put on my house.
Yeah, yes,
Why
I'm not saying, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying like completely abandon the idea, but for them to already be passing laws like in certain states where you can no longer sell gas powered cars in your state. And then, to be honest, electrical cars are not even affordable right now. So if you are a single mom looking for a car, do you think a single mom who's probably making 12, 13, 14 hours an hour can afford an electrical car where a base model is 50,000? No. So I'm like, it's a good idea of what they're trying to do, but they need to do a better job of executing what they're trying to do.
Yes, but I also feel like this is what was seen when cars first rolled out, right? Gas powered. I mean, we had diesel fuel first, right? And then they switched it to unleaded because diesel fuel was fucking up the ozone layer or whatever. So now you got your unleaded. And I mean, I feel like when they rolled those out, they were more expensive than what a normal person could afford, So it's just the time, so if they start to sell more, the cost will drop. Supply versus demand.
And they have to figure out a cheaper way to build the cars. I feel like over the years, like when cars first came around, it was very expensive to build them. And then as time went on, it became less expensive to build them. But now we're in this new age where we have, so now we're in this new age where we have so much technology in our cars now. It's costing more money to build these cars.
So
like you gotta think about like for the people who got like the sensors on there, you got cars that park themselves, you got cars that do all this. All that stuff costs money to go into a car.
It does, but those don't have to be base models because they're not needed. I just need my car to cut on and go. Give me some air conditioning, some heat, and wipers work, lights work.
The crazy part about it is like you pay a higher insurance premium when you don't have those features.
And I get it. That's just a con. That's just a con. But I mean, I really feel like that's going to be the wave of the future. Give it another 20 years, I guarantee you that's going to be, what you're going to see on the streets. The pumps are going to be at the gas stations are going to be switched out, things like that. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
find a more efficient way for these cars to run. So now it's like they're putting it out into the general public to test drive the longevity. They need about a good 5 years of data. What works, what doesn't, so on and so forth. So, and then they can go back and redo it. And then, like you were saying about the cost to build these things, honestly, a lot of people are losing their jobs, like Nissan, Ford, so on and so forth, because of robotics and AI technology, where it's going to push for you no longer are the assembler. You're going to need to know how to program and work that machine. So you got 100 robotics working to build a car, and you rolling it off the line. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're going to need somebody that's going to be able to code all the different electrical parts, right? And I feel like that is what a downfall will be, is all the electrical components, like you said. And honestly, if you got all those electrical components in a car that's being driven by electricity, sounds like you need to make something that's more energy efficient. I got energy efficient washer and dryer, dishwasher, refrigerator. So you can't tell me it can't be done. They just need to piggyback on those things because they're energy efficient. The computers are energy efficient. You can make your phone energy efficient to save your battery. So it can be done. I think they're just test driving to see the longevity of all the components in the battery power so they can make it better. And
Mm-hmm.
then I do feel like the war would be shifted from fossil fuel to electricity, and who owns what to set up the wind tunnels and all of this extra stuff. And solar panels will become more expensive. That's why I'm thinking about doing it now, right? Before this hit. But I do feel like the newer homes that are being built, it should be a requirement to have some sort of solar panels on your house.
I
Okay.
totally agree, and it shouldn't cost so much back to have solar panels on your house. Now, the only thing is when you were with the solar panels, so your solar panels will not charge like or do what it's supposed to do. If it's like a cloudy, muggy day outside, it would not do what it's supposed to. It's not going to produce that much electricity. If it's not no, if so, I feel like if you live in an area like Seattle, like most of the time, Seattle is very cloudy throughout the year. Is solar panels beneficial there? I don't really think that it is. Like, it's probably people there who have solar panels on their house, but it's probably not helping as much as it should because it's always cloudy there. If the sun is not really reaching the solar panels, how is it doing its job to charge? So it's a lot of things that goes into that. But like I said, they need to make solar panels affordable. I know somebody who has solar panels on their house, and I believe like their electric bill or something like that was only like $86 or something like that because they not using very much electricity. And during the winter months, they're not really depending on the energy company for gas that much because they use like this wood burning heating system in a house to heat their house.
Well, how about in addition to the solar panels, you put one of um the fans up there that can um
Yeah, like the
you
little
put one of
big
the
wind
fans
turbine.
so it's like put one of the little wind fan that generate electricity that you see fields of those. Put one
Mm-hmm.
behind every house. So you got one behind every house and you got solar panels. I feel
Sure.
like that would I feel
You know
like
how
that.
big those things are? Those things wouldn't fit on that in like a regular neighborhood.
So I mean, I feel like so this is the thing. Those things are so big because that is the only source of producing electricity there. If you got a combination of things to produce electricity, you should have enough. So like if it is cloudy, it might be windy. So you still generating, you know what I'm saying, electricity.
Yeah.
So I feel like they need to combine ideas to make it work. You know, especially since so many things that we got in our house now run off electricity.
True.
It can be done. People just gatekeeping these ideas.
Just
That's
people
it.
need to let the technology happen.
Right.
Speaking of the House of Representatives, the former House Representative Nancy Pelosi was evicted out of her office today while she was in California for the funeral for what's the lady name that just passed away? She was 91 years old. She was a senator. Can't think of her name right now. But she was there attending the funeral with the funeral, and then the lady's daughter and stuff was there. And back in Washington, they evicted Nancy, somehow voted or did something to evict Nancy Pelosi out of her office while she was in California. So while she's in California, literally the same day they evicted her, they started moving her stuff out of her office.
Why?
And I'm like, what did she do? Like, why are y'all so angry? Like, she ain't even the House Speaker no more. She stepped down as the House Speaker.
She's been quiet.
She's been right. So I'm like, why are y'all still so angry at her? Like, what is going on?
She must got something up her sleeve.
She has to. So I don't understand what's going on with that.
That's crazy.
And so I want to get to what's the time we at? Okay. So I want to get to this story. It happened in New York City. This couple was coming home from a wedding, and they stayed on the bus stop and was waiting on the bus. And this man walked past them kicking trash. He walked, God, picking nabbit now. He walked past them kicking trash, and then he came back and he started saying something to the guy. The guy has told him to chill. He was trying to de-escalate the whole situation. The guy pulls out a knife and is now coming at him towards the knife. And the guy stabs. His name is Ryan Carson, by the way, that got killed. The guy stabs the man in his heart and kills him right in front of his girlfriend as they were coming home. So he was arrested today. Yeah, it just says he's arrested today. So Brian Dwelling, an 18-year-old from Brooklyn, was charged for the crime. He's on video committing the crime. Ryan was he was an activist in New York City. He was raising money to he was bringing awareness to trying to end drug overdoses and mental health and all different kinds of things. He's involved in a lot in the community there, and it's always the good ones who, to me personally, I feel like gets the bad end of something, or end up something bad end up happening to him. So this is the photo of him right here, who when I first saw the story, like, you have to be fucking kidding me. Like, they was just minding their own business, and you just decide it's some white people. I'll probably pull out a knife and stab them. Like, what is wrong with people?
A lot. Traumas, brainwashing.
But then the crazy part about it too, the guy who did the killing, his girlfriend was with him, calling his name to leave them alone.
It can be a lot of different things.
And now you 18 years old, and you basically about to spend the majority of the rest of your life in jail because you were on some God knows what on your mind.
That's crazy. That's unfortunate too.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I stay to myself.
Right. I wanted to play this clip, y'all, because this has been going around, because, from the Renaissance thing, so I'm going to play it.
Look around, everybody on me. Y'all want that one? Okay?
I didn't know anything of this when I had went to the Renaissance show. I didn't know that was a thing. I never heard that song before. So after I started seeing these videos pop up, there's this other video where these people was like, I guess outside the stadium getting ready to go in and stuff, and they literally practice that part. And then
Yeah.
somebody had started saying, "Look around there, everybody on mute." And
Yeah.
then literally everybody that was outside was
Was
quiet.
mute.
I'm like, what? Like they were really practicing this. And then the funniest part is I like the videos where she does that part and it's some you hear somebody like screaming or saying stuff in the background and then other people get mad.
Yeah.
The videos are hilarious.
They are. They are. I'm seeing lots and lots. You know, I know people that have went to 2 and 3 shows for Renaissance and yep, at different cities. And I'm just like, honey, listen, okay. You did get a chance to go, so that was great. But yeah, no. No. And I know now she's gonna get ready to put out a movie, right? Kind of like a compilation of her time on tour. And
She's just copying
she's
Taylor
gonna,
Swift.
huh?
Taylor Swift concert goes in theaters this month, so she'll be also like, "Oh, okay, we'll put mine out in December."
Well, I was so okay. So, but Taylor not done with her. I thought she ain't done.
No, she's still touring North America, and
So
her show is her tour, the current tour that she's on now. They're putting it in the movie theaters, and you can go see it this month in the movie theaters.
So Beyonce was being nice, basically. That's fine.
Yeah.
Now
All right, so
I'll watch the movie. I'll watch the movie, and it's gonna be turned up in the movie theaters. That's the thing. Everybody gonna come dressed like they going to the concert, right? It's gonna be turned up. Now I'll go do that. I'll do that.
I just know next time, if I was to go see her in person, I will not go see her at a stadium that does not have a roof. Because the fact that when I bought my tickets, it said that the show starts at 7 o'clock or 7:30.
Oh yeah, I was waiting
that
for
it
a long
started at
time.
7:30. She didn't go on stage until 9:45. So now
You
I
gotta start
know
wearing a coat.
it wasn't cold or anything. It was just the fact that she had us nearly sitting in a stadium because it says doors open at 6:30, show starts at 7:30. It's the fact
Oh,
that
she
she
just
had
wanted y'all to be bent by the time she came out.
I said the fact that you had us sitting in the state, it wasn't no entertainment though. There was no
Liquor. It was the entertainment.
there was no opening act. There was no music. There was no type of music playing whatsoever. Like she had a DJ for like 30 minutes and then the DJ left. So we spent an hour and a half just sitting in silence mostly. And then and then some people were like, depending on the stadium that you're in, they kept going up and down them. Them stairs was horrible, but they kept going up and down the stairs. So by the time the show started, people was musty. I was like, I'm ready to go.
And now people was musty in an hour and 45 minutes.
Man, people was musty.
Woo, child. Y'all got to think twice about that aluminum foil.
I swear.
That shit don't absorb nothing. You need cotton somewhere under that, honey. You need a lining under that shit.
Like people were musty. We were too close together. There were people who were bigger than me who should have got aisle seats because now you're like squishing everybody because you're kind of too big for these seats. It was just I was ready. I was so ready to go. And then the one thing I hate about when I go to concerts and stuff, or even when I go to wrestling shows, it's always 2 or 3 people in every damn row who's constantly getting up, and because they getting up and trying to go do whatever,
everybody else got to get up and shit.
Yeah, like they piss me off so much.
Like I need you to come back to your seat with everything you need, okay? I need you to prep a bag. Now, okay, so as far as going into there, was it like stadium rules where you have to have clear bags and stuff like that?
Yep, and if their purse was too big, this is the thing I didn't like. That was I'm happy I don't carry nothing like that. So if they came with like large purses and stuff like that, they had like lockers that you get to lock your stuff up in. But the thing is, it wasn't inside the stadium. It was in a park. So like it was in one of like the place I had parked at. It was like across the highway, down a little thing. It's a little bit of distance away from the stadium. And it's just these lockers that's just sitting in this random parking lot area that they want you to put your stuff in. I'm like, no. If I drove, I'm just gonna walk back to my car and put my stuff in
Put
there
my shit in my car. Yeah.
because I'm like other people. They took the subway and all the other kind of stuff down there. I'm like, no, I'm happy. I did not bring
Yeah.
anything extra. It was just it was a lot. And then getting out of the stadium was a nightmare because I feel like so we went to the Soldier Field show, and I feel like Soldier Field is designed so poorly. It's stupid. So like it was like where everybody need it's like where how many people can fit in that stadium is where everybody left kind of going to the same area. So it's like you had to walk through this little park thing, and then you had to walk through this underground, it was like this like tunnel thing, and then it leads out to some more parking lots. So majority of people went that way. So it's like it showed like 10,000 plus people are trying to fit into this small tunnel to get out, and there's people that's like walking towards the stadium. There's people trying like what is y'all? And then they had these dudes. They were playing like they were playing a drum, but they were like on buckets, like playing the drums on buckets and stuff. Like we're just trying to go home, and y'all got this move. It was a nightmare.
Okay, well, I mean, once the movie hits theaters, we can go.
So I don't have enough for her. I don't know if I'm gonna go see that.
That's fine. I want to go see it, and I want to get my little Beyonce T-shirt or whatever, and go see it. Get my boots. It's gonna be cold and snowy up here.
Oh Lord, I'm thinking. I'm trying to get me some tickets to go see Mariah Carey Christmas
Lord
show.
have mercy. Listen.
And then SmackDown gonna be here October 27, and then we're going to SmackDown in Green Bay.
Okay,
and
fine.
Then I got my cruise coming up.
But you want to buy that TV though?
Yeah, I'm thinking about buying that TV.
You know what I'm saying? You do not need. See, oh my God, poor decisions.
I need
bad
it for the living
decisions.
room.
Bad decisions.
I need it for the living room.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Say hi.
Oh, hey, buddy. So I guess with the last 2 minutes we have, should we just do final thoughts?
Sure, we can do final
in a
thoughts.
while.
Yeah, we can do final thoughts. We didn't talk about none of the stuff I said, but okay.
I actually got to keep it up if you want to.
Well, no, we can leave it for the next one, so we'll have enough time. So, final thoughts. The government is full of shit. Beyonce is a motherfucking businesswoman. Okay. How's your net worth in the billions with an S? Billions with an S. Okay. So love and light to her. I mean, so it was a great tour. It was a lot of positivity. I really didn't hear anything negative. So many people that attended were happy. You know, they were ecstatic to see her. So great job. I'm excited about Usher being for a halftime show for the Super Bowl.
Shorty's saying that because she's going to go see him.
I am going to see him at the end of this month. I can't wait. Hey, Usher Boo, how you doing? I can't wait to see you. Okay, I'm getting my outfits together right now to come see you, baby. I think, you know, we should try to focus. It's really hard to not focus on the negative because of how much it impacts us. But, you know, there is a lot of light at the end of the tunnel type of things. And I have to give much respect to those people who are focusing on those things during this time. You know, I feel like, I feel like it'll turn around for us. We just got to get the right people in office. We got to voice our opinion the correct way, and we just got to say, hell no, we won't go. Period. Right? Because the government in America hinges on the working class, period. So if we start putting our foot down, we say go.
I did have a video when you said speaking of working class. I did have a video. I believe it's in Detroit where one of the plants was shut down due to the strike.
Yeah.
I don't have it in the queue though. It's on my I didn't put it in the queue for the show tonight. But so basically these plants that are on strike, one of them tried to hire a bunch of temp workers to go in and replace those workers who are on strike. And the workers found out about it and they blocked all the entrances so none of the temp workers can drive their cars into the building to get into the place to work. And they were going up to people's car windows, recording them and stuff. And then these people just sitting in their cars trying to ignore them, do their best to ignore the people out there. I mean, I get it. They was probably offering y'all some good money, but these people have been doing this stuff for years, and all they just asking for is better wages and health care. Give it to them, which we're going to be talking about on the next episode.
I wouldn't have went. I wouldn't have took the job.
Yeah, which we're going to be talking about on the next episode because there was a healthcare company where all I believe the nurses, respiratory therapists, they walked out their jobs went on strike. So we can talk about that on the next episode also. Like I said, we need to start supporting each other more. And now these is hard times right now, and I feel like this is the time where I feel like regular working people really need to start banding together. We need to get rid of. I feel like as of this year, by going into next year, next elections, these new elections that's coming up. Next year we got to vote for president. In another 2 years, we got to vote for governors and senators and all these other kind of things. If I believe anybody that was born before 1975 should not be allowed to run for those positions. I'm just going to say that. I saw a video that they had stated that the people that's in charge of our future doesn't have a future because they already lived there. They're living in their future right now. And these people that's in charge of making decisions for our future is basically not going to be there for ours. So we need to have people in those positions who is around our age to make those decisions for our future. And we need to stop letting these people be 65, 70, 80 making these decisions for us. And that's my final thought.
Okay, I like that.
And make sure y'all check us out on social media. All my social medias are Martell Roland, and then the podcast is STDD Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And check us out on Facebook, Samecast Different Day Podcast. All right, you'll see y'all okay right now. Oh, links in the description below for the discount. So make sure y'all go check those out. All right, we'll see y'all okay right now. All right.